Partners in Fire. Today, we're going to talk about real estate investing. And no, it's not one of those videos that's going to say, oh, it's so easy, and if you're not real estate investing, then you're doing finance wrong and you're going to be poor for the rest of your life. That's ridiculous. Instead, we're going to talk about the truth about real estate investing, how it really works and feels for normal people like you and me. The so-called experts who tell you that if you're not investing in real estate, you're financing wrong, this is the part that they leave out. So first, full disclosure, right? I've made tons of money investing in real estate. Not gonna lie. I bought my first home in California when property values were still pretty low, when the market was recovering from the recession. And I sold it a few years later when the market was almost fully recovered, not where it's at now, but where the market was fully recovered, and I made a freaking bundle. I made over $100,000 on that deal, and then I moved to Savannah, Georgia. So when I moved from Georgia to Pennsylvania, I decided to rent out my house and do the actual real estate investing thing. Rent a house out, be a landlord, have tenants that pay your mortgage, all of that fun stuff that everybody tells you you need to do, and that is the best passive income maker in the world, right? Like, that's what they say. And I was like, yes, I have an extra house. I can do this. I can get in on this. Boom, right? Very exciting stuff. And the thing is, it did work, right? I had renters who paid my mortgage for the most part every month. I was gaining equity without actually having to pay the mortgage myself. And then I sold the house when real estate properties increased in the area, and I made like $40,000. Boom! So, as you can see, I made money investing in real estate, and I do think it is a good investment option. So I'm not saying it's not. You can make a ton of money investing in real estate. But what I am here to tell you is that it's not as easy as people make it seem. I'm going to tell you the real truth behind it that a lot of the real estate bros won't tell you, so that you can make an actual informed decision about whether you want to get in on it. So, the first hard truth. It's expensive. These bros are like, hey, just buy a house and rent it, easy money, right? But like, who are these people who can just throw money down and buy a house? I mean, I was only able to afford a house by selling my freaking body to the government, right? Now, don't get me wrong. It was a great deal. I gave a few years of service and I got a ton of benefits, including the VA loan option. Now, a VA loan lets you buy a house with no down payment and you don't ever have to pay PMI. So it is great. It is an awesome, awesome opportunity for veterans. But if I was not a veteran, if I did not go that route, there's no freaking way I would have been able to afford a down payment on my first house. It wouldn't have happened. And the thing is, with home prices rising across the nation and wages being stagnant, I think that most people are in that situation. It's not as easy as just go buy a house. And the thing is, that doesn't even take into consideration that you need a place to live. Maybe the first house that you buy is something that you have to live in. Where's your extra money to buy a second house? Like, that's insane. That's a lot of money. And people who talk about how easy investing in real estate is, they just don't consider that it's not that easy. So another option that gets thrown around a lot is to buy a duplex or something like that and live on one side while renting out the other. Now, that is a viable option. It's great. But duplexes are more expensive than single family homes, first. And second, not every area has a duplex. There's far fewer duplexes on the market than there are single family homes. So it's harder to find and they're more expensive. And I'm not saying it's unattainable. It's not. There's so many people who are able to buy houses and rent them out, but it's not as easy as the experts say it is. And I just want to throw that out there, that it can get expensive. Okay, but I'm sure you already knew that. You know what home prices are like. You see the Zillow costs and the properties rising and the news articles about it. We already know that it's expensive to buy a house. But the one thing that they actually don't tell you is that renting out a house is stressful. Like, it's horrible. It's probably one of the most stressful things I've ever done. And I was in the military. It's so freaking stressful. So how many times have you heard that? How many times have the fire bros told you that, oh, it's just easy, you don't have to worry about anything, everybody else handles everything for you, it's passive income? It's not. It is not. The only way real estate investing is passive and stress-free income is if you invest in an REIT, which is a real estate investment fund that you can buy on the market, just like you can buy Vanguard stocks. But most of the time, when people are talking about real estate investing, they are talking about buying a home and renting it out. And that is not stress-free, and it is not passive. A lot of people say just hire a property manager, they take care of everything. But a property manager can't take care of everything. I mean, it is better, You don't have to deal with the angry calls from tenants or last minute, middle of the night fixes. The property manager does handle those parts. And they handle all the fixes and repairs, and that's great. But they don't handle everything. And they eat away from your profits. So they can't actually make decisions on your house unless maybe you have a power of attorney agreement where they make all the decisions, which I think is probably a bad idea. So anything that happens, they still have to reach out to you and let you know, hey, the tenant called and reported this. Will you authorize us to go check it out and fix it? So you have to give that authorization. So you still have to be involved in all of those decisions. Even if you don't have to field the angry calls, you still have to work with the property manager to get anything done. Another thing they can't do is force tenants to pay rent. So tenants are supposed to pay, right? But they can't be forced to pay. There's nothing you can do to force them to pay. So you never ever know what you're going to get with a tenant. Even if you do all the background checks and stuff, you never know. They may lose their job. They may be a perfect tenant but lose their job and not be able to pay. You never know someone's situation. So you have to be able to pay the mortgage, because at the end of the day, the mortgage is still on you. It's not on the tenant. It's not on the property manager. It is on you. You have to pay that mortgage if nobody else does. So even if you have that passive income, you still have to make sure that you have something available to pay the mortgage if the tenant can't. You can't just, oh, well, I'm not paying because the tenant didn't. You can't do that. So it's stressful. You still have to make sure that you can pay. I think some people don't even consider that option that the tenant might pay. They just assume the tenant will always pay, and that makes it easy and stress-free for them. But I could never let that go. I could never say, you know, I'm just going to quit my job and not worry about the house because the tenant's always going to pay. Because what if they don't? I needed that income to pay the mortgage in case they didn't. That's important to me. Some people might not care, but I couldn't let that go. I think some people don't actually worry about whether they have the money coming in to keep the mortgage paid. They just assume that the tenants are going to pay no matter what. And that's fine if you can do that, if you can not deal with that stress and just be like, nah, that's fine, go for it. I'm just not that person. I couldn't do it. I had to make sure I have a backup plan, and that was my income. The next super stressful thing is to get that email from your property manager saying there's a problem with the house. And that leads us into the third big lie that experts tell us about real estate investing. And that's that anybody can do it and you don't need any money. The truth is, you need money. You need a lot of capital, and not just to buy the house. That's the thing. You don't just need to get a loan and have the money to buy the house. You need money to fix the things that go wrong. You never know when the air conditioner will go out, or it'll need a new hot water heater, or the previous tenants will mess up the carpet and you gotta repaint and recarpet everything for new tenants. You don't know when these things are gonna happen, and you don't know how much they're gonna cost. They can get super expensive. I've spent over $5,000 to fix my air conditioning, a few $1,000s on water, thousands of dollars on carpeting and painting and all those other cosmetic things that go into making a house ready for rentals. And if you don't have the capital on hand to pay for these things when they come up, you're gonna have to rely on credit. And that sucks. It's even more debt that you're gonna have to take on. One of the ways I helped mitigate that with my rentals was that I did have a home warranty. Now, many home warranties will cover a lot of these things as they happen. And they're great. They're great when you own the house and you live in them. But what I learned from my experience being a landlord is that they are not so great when you have a tenant. And the reason is because now you have 4 layers of people you have to go through to get anything fixed. The tenant goes to the property manager and tells me there's a problem. Now I have to go to the home warranty company. The home warranty company has to go back to me, to the property manager, to the tenant to schedule anything, and it just becomes a huge logistical nightmare. There's just too many hands in the pot, too many people involved. And when you have a fix like the air conditioner is broken in Georgia and it's 200 degrees outside, you can't wait 3 weeks to get that fixed. You can't. Your tenants are going to be hurting if you wait that long to get that fixed. And there's also other things that could be dangerous, like electrical problems or plumbing or things like that. They need to be fixed now. You don't have the luxury to wait for the home warranty company to coordinate with the tenant. You just don't have that luxury. You need to get it fixed now for the tenant, for the safety, and for your house, you know? So although the home warranty can help mitigate that, it's not always beneficial. Sometimes it's just too much of a hassle and a headache to even deal with that. So those are the 3 huge things that people do not tell you about investing in real estate. There are lots of advantages too. The things that I mentioned about the repairs, those are tax deductible. So I'm able to write all those repairs off of my taxes because it's technically a business. And that's super great. That's helpful for me at the end of the year. It's not helpful for me in March when the air conditioner goes out and I have to shell out $5,000 right now. So the taxes help. They help if you have the capital to take care of it, but if you don't have the capital, you have to wait a year to get that tax break. And again, you can also make amazing money. Like I said, I've made like $200,000 on real estate, and that's been awesome. It's a great investment for making tons of money. But ultimately, I decided that it was just too stressful, and I didn't want to worry about it anymore. It was too stressful to make sure I had a job to pay the mortgage just in case the tenants didn't. I was always waiting for that email saying something was wrong with the house and wondering what I was going to pay. I just couldn't handle that stress. I don't have $100,000 just hanging out in a bank account ready to pay whatever needs to be paid. And if I did, maybe it would be way less stressful for me. So if you have that capital on hand, then it is a really great option because you just have that money available. It's in a pot. AC goes out, $5,000, boom, whatever, get it back at the end of the year, who cares? But most of us don't have that. And that's what makes it really stressful. In the end, it really is up to you whether you decide that investing in real estate is worth the stress and the risk. And the point of this video was to prevent you from going in with those rose-colored glasses because often investors will say it is the only path to wealth and it's the easiest path to wealth and it's all passive income and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, that's not exactly true, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that before you decide to invest. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helped you decide whether you actually do want to invest in real estate or not. And for more on achieving financial independence and living that kind of life, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are all about achieving financial freedom and living our dreams. So you will see a ton of tips on finance and money and saving and investing and all of that, mixed in with a ton of videos about actually enjoying life, because really the money is whatever. The money is just a tool, to get us there. It's really about living life and living the life that we want to live, right? And that's really what Passion Fire is all about. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow along with our journey, and let's reach Passion Fire together, right? Let's do it.